It's time for some WWE 2K talk, and I'm joined by the one and the only Matt from Assemble. You can find him online at Assemble Show, YouTube, Assemble. He's everywhere. If you know WWE 2K, no. If you know WWE 2K, you know Assemble, and you know everything you've done. Matt, thank you so much for joining me here.
No worries, Mike. It's good to finally meet you.
I know,
We could
face to
actually hang
face.
out a little bit. Yeah, it's
Though
great.
it's really frustrating, and it just keeps proving I need to just stop being cheap and buy myself a new camera, because every time I talk to someone like you or another like a great creator, I look in the face and I see all the detail in the face, and I go,
I'm good. It's all withered and rotten and
I
just
know
torment.
the life of being a parent, wrinkled in
It
face.
is.
That's why I
It's
wear
very
glasses.
painful. It's all in my eyes.
Yeah, that's why I wear glasses. It kind of covers the bags. It looks like shadows as opposed to
I'm
bags.
waiting for that, Mike, because I'm getting to the point where I am starting to like my eyes are getting wider and I'm looking at my phone and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get some peepers pretty soon.
Yeah, so soon it happens, and then people will go, "You look tired," and you go, "I am."
I am.
I am. That's it. You wanted to watch my kids so I could take a nap, please. So, so rather than get down that rabbit hole, WWE 2K24 has been out for about just almost 5 months. We're still in the DLC cycle.
Yes.
It's still popular on social media, at least. Everybody keeps talking about it and mad about it. But what have been your impressions or your thoughts this far into where 2K is for 2K24?
All right, Mike, strap in. Let's go. Let's deep dive this thing. So overall, and you know what? It's funny because I want to do like a mid-cycle review, kind of like where we are now. But I guess Cole's notes version is, so I think the game is good. I hesitate because I'm like, it's good, but by saying good, it's like, okay, I'm gonna come at you because it's not. There's this I'm like, hang on. There's a plethora of issues with the game. It seems like at launch, I feel like there's a big drop off for enthusiasm and engagement, and I could be way wrong. So I'm only talking from my little corner of the internet,
Yeah.
but at least from my perspective, it feels like there is a very much a drop off of enthusiasm of people going like, eh. And I think a lot of it has to do with we came out of the gate strong. I say we, but like 2K came out of the gate strong, I think, with this game because there was a lot of good with it. I feel with in terms of like, hey, we got like 4 new match types out of the thing. That was kind of like the big exciting piece for it. We got the 40 years WrestleMania for showcase. If that interests people, then you got a showcase mode that wasn't just one superstar. So it felt like we were gonna get some good pieces. People wondered about my GM. That got improvements. Universe mode, we were really people that like universe mode were hoping for a lot. And then there's online and creation suite and so on. And then it kind of like you got past like the initial window and then issues start popping up. And it felt like every time and you would see this too, I'm sure, but like you get a patch and then it felt like 3 things broke. And then you get another patch to fix the patch and then you get another 2 things broken. There is I still enjoy the game. I still just pick up and play, but there are things that I'm like, man, I really hope next year they can fix this or change this model for certain things. Like universe mode, I think needs an overhaul or a gut,
Yeah.
or just get rid of it and let's do a story designer, or let's just reshape what an experience mode of a season mode is for players, because it's so old now. Like it feels like you could go back 5 years or more and you're like, it's literally like the same thing with cutscenes.
Then you have
GMO,
fans of Madden come in and go, "We know."
yeah. And again, nothing I'm saying is going to be like new for people. And there's probably 15 things on people's lists of what needs to be corrected, fixed, altered, changed to make a perfect wrestling game. I don't think we'd ever get there. But I think that with the patch is what I've noticed is just from people within the community, it's, hey, this is breaking all of this stuff. Or there are blocks on things if it's in the modding community. The online stability. Like right now, as we do this video, there was like I've been away for the weekend. So I'm like, oh, there has been a online update across the 2K games. So hopefully it means that they're going to do better stability with WWE 2K. But online is a huge thing for players that they're concerned about. Community creations isn't as deep. My faction is a giant focus for 2K across their games and WWE. And the DLC is very spread out, which I am not a fan of.
So yeah, I'm a mixed fan with the DLC. I think what really killed everything is obviously the Pat McAfee and Friends pack. That killed a lot of excitement with how the DLC was
Yeah.
spread. Like we all knew it was coming, and then when it really came, I think a lot of people were going, "There's got to be a surprise." Like maybe they'll move someone from
I was too.
a future DLC up one, and it's not just Pat McAfee and his friends, and that's what they got. And it just basically felt like now we're waiting on, we're still waiting to get Jade Cargill, still waiting to get Dragon Lee, still
I
waiting.
know. And then the big thing too there, and I agree. Like I had zero excitement for that pack. I like having Pat McAfee in the game, but I think, and it's interesting to see the conversations online because at least like on my channel for it, you get the 1 in 100 that will say I like it. I'm like, oh, that's great. I'm glad you enjoy it. I think in large part, generally speaking, I think it's an odd decision to make to include that as a paid DLC content, because if you are a casual wrestling fan or somebody that's like, I just pick up the game every year casually, like a Madden, for example, because like I'm not a hardcore Madden player, but I like getting it like every year and just playing. And if you're somebody that's more casual with the game, I'm kind of like, really? Like, why would you? Do you? Who are these guys?
Yep.
Like, why am I paying this in my season pass on top and I'm paying a premium, and I don't even know what this is? Are these wrestlers? Like, no, they're not. They are on this guy, the Raw announcer show that he does on a different thing. They're his friends.
Yeah.
They're his, and you're like, what? Why is that in my wrestling game? Why couldn't you give me legends or more NXT stars, whatever, or just more stuff, like different content that you could do do mini stories, like mini showcases. Why did we get that?
Yeah, there's all those things. There's things with that. There are things, we did the benefit. The biggest thing, we got the new model, like the version of the Hidden Blade in the move pack. So we get those things, which I don't say make up for it, but it kind of like eases the blow of what you paid for, and you're getting this. But you said you brought it up a little bit off before we started, and then you talked about the spacing of the DLC. Do you think the DLC model needs a change, or do you think it does get changed in the near future?
So I'm just hey, I'm just a fan, but
This isn't a report.
Yeah, from my perspective, I mean, I would look at the rest of the 2K games, and I don't follow NBA 2K closely enough to know like the ins and outs. You got to ask those people about like what's the ins and outs of their model and how it's been. But do I see it? I see it personally ending at some point. Is that going to be in 2K25? Who knows? It could be down the road. I personally think if I just look at the tea leaves and I see what we have done now for the last 3 years, 2K20, we had no 2K21. We got kind of a refresh. They took the extra time off because they had to, and COVID and everything else. But we got 22, 23, 24. Not a lot has changed. We got the introduction of my faction, which if you look from 22 to 24, has seen the changes and improvements within the mode itself. Like it or lump it, it has changed. It has evolved. We're at a point now where they're like, hey, here are persona cards, which we all know. You can go and do live events, unlock the characters. You're going to get these actual models in the game that are playable, which was the critique we all had for 2 years since the mode was announced and came out. We're like, why would I play this mode? I can't even play these characters unlocked. Then you get modders and you get creators in the community that would pull everything for all of us. So yay, thanks everybody else. So that we can all have fun, because we're like, this is a weird decision. So now they're like, we're doing persona cards. If I had to read the tea leaves, I'd probably say that in the next year to 2 years, DLC is a thing of the past, and they were offering more my faction cards / persona models as the DLC.
They'll to force you to, and my hope is that they continue it where you can pay the VC, you can get them, do whatever, but they make everything available to be grind.
Model where here's the game that you still pay like retail price for the 3 versions to get like, the extra bonuses, which could be just like we saw in the 40 years version, which got you all the extra models, the WrestleMania 40 arena. I think they continue that trend because you got to sell the three versions of the game. I just think they move away and they're like, here's the VC bonuses, and these are going to give you 3 persona models at launch of the game. Because if the leaks are true for what we've seen online, even recently, there's more persona models, more persona cards coming, and that is padding out, in my opinion, the problem with the gap in DLC. I also think that they get rid of the DLC model because how many years in a row can they go with rehashing models and DLC to the point where like you've pulled everybody for the WWE contracts and Legends contracts, like they're all in the game. So how many? Someone's gonna say, yeah,
Yeah.
well they do this all the time. They recycle. I'm like, I understand, but it does get to a point where you're like, we've got everybody that's under a WWE contract, a Legends contract, is utilized in the video game. Can you really recycle that again for players? Or do you go do NXT stars and that could be a DLC pack? But what we've seen even Mike like right now and like 2K has posted these is like they have now released John Cena models as persona cards. And
Yeah, and you get Big Papa Pump. Like that was one that a lot of people were really mad about last year with the Steiners. It's like,
yeah,
how do you not have Big Papa Pump? And then this year they have the Big Papa Pump Persona card, and everybody's like, good, because it's not like they didn't have his entrance animation in the game last year, so you can
I
just
know.
change it. And like,
But now they have like the John Cena prototype
yeah,
version, but it was in the base game last year. Now it's being sold as a Persona card, and I say sold because it's like technically I can grind out for free, and I could get the card and unlock it, and I can get it for free. I can. It's a lot of work. It's not reasonable, but it's possible. I see that like being the model they go down is, and I think we're seeing hints of this now with, hey, let's take models and superstars that we had in the previous year's games, like 22 and 23, and those extra models like an Undertaker, a John Cena, and so on. Well, we can't make those DLC again. We got to make more revenue. So an easy way is let's just transfer it over to Persona cards, and the models are sitting there. They're in an inventory, right? So let's just put them in that mode. People can download them, and now they still get them in the base game. They're happy. The issue with the Persona cards is, amongst many things, one of them is that it's all locked. So like, I get that John Cena, that's awesome, but I can't change his outfit, his Tron, his music, nothing. It's completely locked, which upsets a lot of people.
what has been in your community that you've seen? What has been the biggest, I guess, I don't want to say the biggest issue or problem that they want to see changed, updated, fixed for this franchise?
Universe mode, probably. It's the most I hear the most noise about. If I say what was the loudest thing, people would say that they want with the game. It's not very much like, oh, I wish gameplay would change. A lot of people want like, oh, I wish they would go back to 2K19 gameplay style. I think that for the game itself, a lot of players, at least what I hear, is I want universe mode to work. I want it to be fresh and new and exciting and bring me in for the whole year.
Yeah.
Because that's how I used to play too. I love playing universe mode, setting it up, tinkering with it, and now I'm like, it just feels like the same thing that I've been doing for years. I need a new take on it. So I think people are, a lot of them anyways, are looking for universe mode. But again, the next person will say, I need a creation suite that is far more in depth and gives me the tools that I need. Or they'll say that they need more match types. Like it's
Yeah.
everyone's got an opinion on it. So I just think that for at least what I hear, universe mode has been a core staple of the franchise for so long, but it's getting stale and people want to see a refresh.
For me, I just keep this thought in my head that we're going to get to a point where universe mode and GM are combined in some way.
Yeah.
I feel like it would have worked like had you just like, I love my GM. That is the mode when I play the game. That's the mode I pretty much primarily play. Even though it does get repetitive, I still like it hooks me. I always it has that perfect one more show type of mentality. It's like, no, I don't
Yeah.
like how that show went. I'm gonna make up for it. I'm gonna do a better show. And then next thing I know, it's 3 a.m. and I have to get up at 7.
But Mike, you've seen it though. Like I totally agree with you because I play more my GM than anything. It's you can kind of see it knowing that you've played the mode a ton, that you're like, well, if it just gave me the full calendar year and the matches, you're really close to universe mode. Like I know it misses the customization options, but if you kind of had to yank universe out of the system and you put all the resources into my GM, it's not far off. Now people
Yeah.
will say, like, I don't want my GM, I want universe. I'm like, that's, we all want different things.
See,
But
I'm type, just make it, combine it. I'm okay with the combination, but have enough options to where I can turn. If I don't want, power cards, turn it off. If I don't want fan ratings or tracking,
Yep.
turn it off. Like, let me, again, it all comes down to, I think ultimately that's what we get. Maybe not next year, but if they If they do continue this partnership, which I mean, they're making so much more money now, you got to think that WWE 2K is not going anywhere
No, no,
anytime soon.
it's so successful for them, and WWE, for all intents and purposes, are happy. The game is successful, the financial success. It works. So I don't see the license ever getting dropped for a very long time.
So I asked about your community. What do you hope the future hosts, as we start to wind down here, hope to see with the future of this franchise?
M- More depth. Customization is a big word, but I think it's what so many players want. They want freedom in their wrestling game, and they want it to be a wrestling game that just speaks to them. That's not, trying out new things that people didn't ask for. They're looking for those core modes. They want all the match types that they used to play back in the day, and we're getting there. Like, to be honest, like, they brought a lot of cool stuff back. We got special ref, casket matches, ambulance matches, like gauntlet match. I love, like, it's all there. There's still always going to be stuff we all want. Like, there's still, but I think a lot of people are looking for just consistently updated even throughout the year as well. That's something that I wish the team would do. I think maybe it has to do with resources, and they're on like an 8-month timeline, right? With like, okay, the game gets refreshed. I understand it. But for the players, it's like, what do we want? Well, we want to be heard. We want more communication from the team and from, the franchise that we're all invested in, because we want it to be successful, because it's the WWE video game. But we want more communication and more of the game feeling like, okay, they heard us as a community. We wanted these things. Hey, we're getting them. But I feel like their hands are tied on the dev side, because, in my opinion, like, they're on an 8-month window. They got to flip this thing around. How can you reinvent the wheel? You can't. You just can't. So it's having an understanding too of like this balance. But I do wish that they would focus on core modes, scrap fluff, and just try to nail the best experience they can.
I think the only thing I really want, well, not the only thing, one of the things I really want, I admittedly like the control scheme. It took me a little bit to get the hang of it, making it feel like it's a fighting game. I would like to see them, and this is mainly for my kid. He's about to be 7, but he cannot grasp the combos and stuff just yet. So I'd really like a simplified
or just
option.
Have both. Have both. Yep. Go back to old. Go to 2019 or 2K19 and give us the modern version. Yep. I agree, because I'm like, I don't like combos. I don't like the fighting stances and doing this all the time. And then I'm doing combo. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I'll play a wrestling game.
So, last question. It's not 2K related, but it is wrestling game related. You've obviously seen the latest tech demo for the wrestling code.
Yeah.
What do you I can't talk enough about that game. I like, to the point where I think I'm biased towards how much I'm excited about what this game is going to be. What do you think of what you've seen? Granted, it's very small. All we're getting is tech demos.
I'm very impressed by it because of, from what I've heard, it's like a team of 10 or so that are working.
And it's a self-funded passion project.
So then, like, for that, I'm like, wow, that's incredible. And like, personally, for the tech demo, I loved it. I mean, you got Chris Danger in there.
I don't like him giving all his finishers to like some of my favorite wrestlers. Seeing him doing things to DDP and Kurt Angle, like, come on.
The bottles look good. I thought the arena and the crowd looked good. And again, it's a tech demo. It's an alpha tech demo, and I liked what I saw. Do I wish it was like better and more in depth? Absolutely, of course. You want everything. I want to see menus. I want to see match time. I want to see like a whole match. But for what they showed off, for being such a small team, I think it's exciting, because you know what? I just like more options. That's like, I made a video of reviewing the tech demo, and at the end of it, all I said was, the great part is you can live in a time where, once again, there could be options for games. We have no idea when this game could come out. It might be in the shelf in development for 3 more years, because it's a small team. But when we could have potentially Ultra Pro Wrestling, the Wrestling Code, WWE 2K, AEW Fight Forever 2, maybe at some point in our lifetime, but like, you could have multiple wrestling games, and that's what we grew up with too, was having multiple games to play. So it's the Wrestling Code. I thought it was great. I thought that the moves, pulling them off, it looked a little bit like it was slowed down.
I think that was intentional.
Yeah, maybe. And I was like, maybe if they could,
I might be wrong, but yeah, I agree. It did.
it would looked a little slow that they were doing from move to move. And then when I looked back at it again, I thought that like, again, it's a tech demo, but I'm like, okay, the crowd. I love the crowd and all that because it made it look big and feel big, but we needed like I liked all the camera options, but there's something about the stage being so grand, and then even the camera in the ring. I liked it because it was a different kind of angle and moved around, but it felt like is the ring really big, or is it just the camera and the
Yeah.
positioning of it? I don't know. So there's just stuff, but I'm like, it's an alpha tech demo, and I was happy that they've got a huge amount of legends on there, and it looks like fun.
That roster. That's the best part about wrestling. It's not like Madden or NBA where it's like we want an alternative to play as the same team. No, we just want another fun wrestling game that you can create who you want. Like
Yeah.
you have AEW, you have Ultra Pro Wrestling coming, a different style. I mean, maybe one day we get another Fire Pro. Who the hell knows? I would love another Fire Pro. And then you have the Wrestling Code, and then you even have Wrestling Empire if you want that over the top,
Yep.
arcade. You want a sandbox? There you go. There's your game. You can pick a wrestler and die within one day, because that's happened.
Okay, that's wild.
Oh, it was great. I picked a guy. I did one booking, and then I came up with a news thing and said, "Mike, I passed away." I'm like, all right.
Okay, that's a little harsh. That's a little extreme there.
I'm like, all right. I guess I'm starting over. Thanks, M. Dickey. But Matt, I want to thank you so much for joining me here. You can find him on YouTube at Assemble Show. Find him online. He's not active on Twitter much, but you can find him on Instagram. But check out YouTube every day. I strongly suggest subscribing. Again, thank you so much, Matt.
Thanks, Mike.